Hello, hello. I'm in a bit of, looks like my own echo chamber today. I don't see anyone online, but I'm going to get this party started and actually keep to my New Year's resolution and keep on doing these live streams. So my name's Jacob Jewett. Welcome to the Jacob Jewett IT Training and Consulting live stream. These live streams, again, happen every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. To whenever I'm done, and also on Sundays from 9 p.m. until whatever I'm done. Okay, and that's Eastern time. As far as Pacific time, they are started at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and again until I'm done or feel that I've talked myself out. So anyway, what I plan on doing on tonight's live stream is I finally completed and published my mission statement. With anything I publish, I edit it multiple times and stuff like that. And but anyway, I wanted to at least give people an idea of what my actual mission was. And I'm also going to use some of this live stream to actually talk about why I have a mission statement, or what led me to wanting to do live streaming, or not live streaming. What led me to wanting to do free training and stuff like that. And I guess you get to hear some of my background. I am talking with some friends, and I'm hoping to have some of them on with me on live streams to chat and stuff like that. They have the friends I've talked to. They've been very receptive to joining me on this, and I am very receptive to having them on. I just got to figure out the logistics. I have a Zoom account, so I'll probably give that a try first. And I got some crazy hair going on back there. I was going to wear a hat, but apparently I have a golden retriever, and he goes a little crazy. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to get a haircut lately because, as some of you may know from the previous live streams, I've had eye surgery, and I can't have like bits of hair go into my eye, so it's prevented me from getting a haircut, and I can't do hair products because they make me break out. So therefore, it's kind of useless to wet your hair and comb your hair if it's just going to go out of whack again. So excuse. And OBS is telling me that it's having trouble connecting, which I don't see that reflected in the actual live stream, so I'll just ignore that that particular issue apparently. But anyway, yeah. So that's my plan for tonight. And again, please excuse the bedhead or whatever. I tried cleaning up for the stream and not being such a slouch. But anyway, so. What I thought I'd do is go over my mission statement real quick, just so it's out there. It is on my website, and I'm going to try some of my new fandangled buttons. If you were on the last live stream, you know that I was having issues with the Stream Deck. I got those issues worked out. Believe it or not, it's kind of weird that it works exactly the way I wanted it to work, exactly the way I was setting it up initially. But I actually had to delete buttons and reestablish them. But if I deleted a button and reestablished it, it worked fine. I don't know what the deal is. It's kind of weird. But anyway, let's go to the laptop. So here we go. We're on the laptop. And right now what I'm doing is I'm going to, on my website, I have a YouTube selection. And there you'll find the mission statement. And sorry if this text is kind of small, but let's extend that out. So very simply, my mission statement is I'll start down here because this is just standard text here, but Jacob Jewett IT Consulting is a pet project of Jacob Jewett, and is started out of his want to help others get into IT. While there are other sites that provide this type of content, most are at a fee. Other institutions, such as trade schools and colleges, provide the same training at exorbitantly high tuitions and false promises of a job after completion, with the result being a certificate of completion and nothing more. I'll discuss that more here shortly, but when all that is typically needed to get into IT is a good foundation, which certifications can provide, when done, I'm dyslexic, so I obviously have to go back in and correct that when done correctly. And the willingness to work hard. So, so I'm committing to the following: the content will be the content will be produced that assists viewers in building a foundation with the guidance of IT related or guidance of CompTIA related certifications. Being that this is a pet project and that Jacob Jewett holds a full-time job, which I do, this content will be produced and made available as he is able to dedicate the time to doing so. So I'm going to be dedicating a lot of time here shortly, so that's one. Sources of, all content that's video, PowerPoints, guides, and notes will remain free and will not be placed behind any paywall. All channels, Jacob Jewett Consulting, Blind Leading the Blind, and Once a Scout, and the related videos will be provided on platforms such as YouTube without monetization enabled. Sources of funding. Channels collectively will be funded via the following sources. Number one, obviously, through my personal funds, as I am Jacob Jewett, right? Two, funds donated by viewers like you. It sounds a bit PBS-y, I know. Via Patreon and like services. And three, via sponsorship and affiliate links. Now, let me stop here real quick. When I say via sponsorship and affiliate links, what I'm trying to really say is if I get a sponsor that wants to sponsor the channel through videos and stuff like that, I'm willing to do that. The sponsorships would be like ad reads or something like that at a beginning or ending of a video, which you could easily fast forward through. I'm not going to do, one of the things I hate about YouTube monetization is it forces you to watch, unless you pay for premium, it forces you to watch like a 15-30 second commercial, and you as a creator don't have any control of what commercial gets played and things like that. The other thing is you know, if you look at my website, you will see that there's no ads on that website. I absolutely hate ads, and the only reason why I would even open myself up to like sponsorship or something like that is hopefully you can build an actual relationship with whoever's sponsoring you and truly believe in what you're ad reading for or whatever. But I'm not gonna set up my website to have like pop-ups and banner ads and stuff like that. I just hate it. I'm probably the most unfriendly with ads when it comes to websites and stuff like that. But you know, I guess I'll shill myself a little bit to get some help with running the channel. But hey, the more that viewers and people that use my content assist with funding it, obviously the less I have to do with ads or anything like that. So I'll try to keep away from that. I think the big thing is staying monetization free is pretty good. I want people to know that I'm doing this because I want to do it and not because I think there's some kind of payday at the end. So back to our regularly scheduled program here, right? So let's see, sources of funding, affiliate links, right? And then finally a disclaimer, and I'll let everyone read that disclaimer, but basically what it's saying is like, hey, I'm providing this stuff for free. At no point am I guaranteeing that you're going to pass a certification based off of the information I provide, but the information I provide will remain free. It's not going to be behind a paywall. And, you know, as I've said in previous live streams and stuff like that, or whenever I've talked to people about IT or anything, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're religiously watching my videos, once I start posting certification training content, if you're doing that, or you're going to like a place like Safari Books Online, or which they're not called Safari Books Online anymore. They're called O'Reilly Press. So if you're going to like O'Reilly Press, or you're going to um, another one's Udemy, which is okay, but all that stuff is like behind a paywall. Um, that content you're reading and ingesting for preparing for certification, it doesn't matter if you pay for it or if it's offered for free. The only way you're going to get good results out of it is if you actually put time and effort into it. And so something I used to tell my students when I was teaching in private colleges, or private trade schools, I guess is a better term. Um, you know, that's, I would tell my students when I came in, like, hey, you're in an accelerated program. There's a lot of work behind it. I'm going to do what I can to help you out. And you're going to, I'm already talking with a previous student. He's agreed to come on. And so he will tell you that when I taught at trade schools or private colleges, one of the things I did do is I did follow through with the fact that I helped my students as much as I could. But he will also tell you that when I told students, hey, you get out of it what you put into it, I wasn't lying. It's like, I can only take you there. That saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? So I can only do what you're willing to do, kind of thing. So as I just discussed my mission statement, that I felt it necessary to come up with a mission statement because I wanted people kind of to know what I'm about and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And in that mission statement, I said something about the fact that, trade schools or colleges charge you this exorbitant, tuition fee for stuff that I'm going to try to teach you here for free. And that's kind of where I started with this idea of wanting to do a YouTube channel and wanting to do the training for free. So in a few years back, I taught for private colleges. I first started teaching for Kaplan College, which was the location I taught at was in Bakersfield. And it was literally a private college in a parking lot of a mall. And I taught their what is it called? I forget. It was like CTA, or they had an acronym for it, but basically it was, teaching people that have never really even pressed a power button on a computer, taking them from that. I mean, we had students that literally had never touched a computer, to students right out of high school, to students that, previous life was driving a truck. We had another student that was just out of the military. And so we take them from not knowing anything about how to use a computer to, like, if they really followed the curriculum and put a lot of effort into it, by the time they were done with the program, they should have had like A+ certification, Net Plus certification, security certification, workstation for Windows, Linux. We took them through all that. And what upset me about it is, one, it was always a rush, and you have these private colleges or private trade schools, and they're not in it for the student. They're in it to line their pockets with cash, because they get paid up front when they get a student in the door. They're not really waiting for that money, because they either talk the student into student loans, or they talk them into paying cash on a payment plan or something like that. And they'll sell a potential student on a program for like $18,000, or sometimes more, for like the one program I taught in was a 10-month program. Yeah, so there was like 8 core classes, and then there was two classes, like Kaplan College had it set up to where there's two classes that you had to do, and they did a rotation. So those two classes were always running, and they were always running because they were always trying to pipe students into this program. And then there was like a constant rotation of 8 other classes. So you would have to do these 2 classes, and then you get dumped into this rotation at wherever it was in the rotation of these 8 other classes. So it didn't matter. They called the first 2 classes like white and black or white and blue or something like that. And then they put you over into this 8-class rotation. And that, you know, so if that 8-class rotation was working on Windows Workstation, or Windows at the time, I think it was Windows, I think Windows 7 was out there in that, so it would have been probably Windows 7 that they would stick you in, and you would learn about Windows 7, which is in certification land is also called Windows Workstation. Then that's where you started. Or if we were on Microsoft Server, you started at Microsoft Server. So it was kind of interesting because you get new students every class, especially when you are teaching the 8-class rotation. And the thing with the Kaplan is they don't hire many instructors, so the chances are that when you join, you'll have one instructor for the 2 classes that repeat constantly, and they usually throw like a not really knowledgeable instructor in that, or they'll throw a new instructor into that class because it's just basic stuff. And then when they're done with that, they throw you into this 8-class rotation. Now, Kaplan did their best to at least have someone that had industry experience that was teaching you those classes. But since they didn't hire many instructors, for the most part, when you got thrown into that 8-class rotation that constantly, you know, went through the cycle, the chances were, as long as that instructor stayed there, you were going to keep the same instructor through all 8 classes. So that was a good thing, but the problem was it being a private college or a private trade school, they try to act like they're a real college, and they're not. And you're not getting like an AS degree out there. You're not getting an associate's degree. You're not getting, like, they changed their certificates to diplomas, or they call them graduation diplomas and stuff like that. And they're not. Realistically, when you go through a trade school, unless you actually assert yourself and get the certifications and stuff like that, you're basically getting a certificate of completion. Like, I went here and I did this, which, I mean, one could argue that a degree is the same thing, right? You went to school and you studied. I mean, I've met people that have BS and master's degrees that are complete idiots. And then I've met people that don't have a degree at all that are the smartest, brightest people I've ever met in my life. And I would argue that some of them are the best technicians I've ever met. So the whole point is I worked for these 2 private colleges. I worked for Kaplan College and I worked for UEI College. And both colleges were mostly focused on nursing or dental assisting. But they decided that, hey, IT is big, and so they tried to get into training IT. And the problem is they're charging people like these exorbitant amounts of money for this tuition, for a certificate of completion at a school that doesn't have a bunch of clout, I guess you could say. And then they also not only charge us tuition, but they also make false promises. You know, they say, oh, we're going to take you 0 to hero in like 10 months or 9 months or whatever the time period is. And they can't guarantee that, but they try to. And they try to say, you know, yeah, we'll get you from here to here. And then a lot of them also promise that they're going to get you a job. And usually, sorry, I got rubbed the eye that got surgery. It's part of dealing with surgery. But anyway, one of the things that they'll do is they'll say, oh, we'll get you into a position, we'll help you find a job. And they base your tuition off of that as well. Like, you know, part of your tuition fee is that we offer these employment services, and they'll take you for a tour around the campus, and they'll show you, oh, here's our classrooms, and our classrooms are state of the art, which they're not. And oh, we do this and that, and you know, they'll sell you the moon, right? And then they'll take you to another office, and they'll go, this is our office, and all these guys do is work to get you a job. That's not the truth. The truth is what they do is they call these companies and they say, hey, do you want a free worker? Because most of these institutions, what they'll do is they'll put you into an internship and say that that's a requirement to get past their program. And it's just a bunch of bull crap. Because what they'll do is they'll sign you up for this, they'll say, as they're taking you through the program, you know, oh, you got to get ready for this internship because this is your chance of getting this job. But what they don't tell you is these people are going out and telling these companies, hey, do you want free labor, basically? And, you know, you get them for 2 or 3 weeks, right? You get them 3, whatever the time period is. And gee whiz, all you have to do to promise that, or all you have to do to get them in your door and helping you for this time period is say that there's a possibility that you're going to hire them at the end of the 2 or 3 weeks, right? So basically a work to hire, or brain fart, you know, hey, you know, they have to do these clinicals. They do that to the medical side, the dental and the nurses. You know, they have to do their clinicals, which may be true, may not be true, but you know, that it's always with this promise that you're going to get this possible job at the end. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And most students find out about it at the end. There's been lawsuits on it. There's been all kinds of stuff because, you know, the advisors that get you into a Kaplan college or a UEI, or I'm using those two, and that's because that's my experience. These advisors, they're about selling you the moon because they're not truly advisors. They don't have a huge educational background. At one, I won't say which one, but at one of the colleges I worked at, they literally put an ad out for marketers, and they got some guy that worked, his previous job was being a car salesman. I mean, this guy does not have any knowledge about what it takes to get into IT. He doesn't have any knowledge of what it takes to become a dental hygienist. He doesn't have any knowledge, none of that. He literally took a form and said, hey, when I sell a car, I look at what's included in the car, and I can sell that car by saying this. And that's the same thing he did with I mean, he literally told me that. And so my thing is when I was working for those companies, I don't know if I was the best employee, because if I saw someone that would benefit from actual college or something like that, I would let them know, like, hey, you don't need to come here. You know, most of the schools, they would offer like a 2-week, you know, lemon thing where, gee whiz, if you don't like the school, you can quit at this time. And I would follow that 2-week thing to a T. At Kaplan, it was hard because the 2 weeks was during the first 2 classes, the black and white class, or whatever they called it, the black track and the white track. Or I forget exactly what they called those tracks, but basically one of the reasons why they had those two classes, and they were very easy classes, they were very basic classes, is they would basically sell you on the program during those two classes so that when you got into the 8 loop or the 8 class loop, you no longer had that option to back out of the program because you would find out that it was not right for you, right? UEI college had the same thing. They'd have this 2-week thing. Matter of fact, a funny story. My wife is one of my previous students, and now don't get that the wrong way. Me and her, when I was her instructor, and when she was my student, that thought never ever crossed my mind. Matter of fact, me and her didn't meet up and start dating until like a year and a half after she had left that college. And I was no longer an instructor. She was only in my class for 2 months, a month and a half, 2 months, and she had left my class because, she had her kids to deal with, and that situation had changed, so she had to leave. I didn't know her or I hadn't seen her. Maybe I saw her in passing, but I really didn't even consider her in, even relationship material until me and her met up and started talking outside of the college. And, one thing led to another, and now we're a happily married couple. But, I even joke with her, hey, you paid $18,000 for a program and all you got was me. Did you get a deal? Like, is this something that, to me, it's kind of a fun joke now, but I remember the day that she walked into my class. I told her, well, first of all, my boss walked into the class, and my boss said to me, hey, you got this new student today joining. She's from Peru, and she's got a bachelor's degree. I was like, she's got a bachelor's degree? She's like, oh yeah. And well, at the time I was teaching a business class, and I was like, why is she coming here? She's got a bachelor's degree. She doesn't need to come here. Like, and my boss says, well, she wants to come here because she wants to learn English. And my response to my boss was, well, why don't you guys tell her to go to the adult school? There's literally a free funded adult school that she could go to and learn English. I mean, they literally have English classes so she can learn English and not spend a dime. And I was basically told to shut up and that she was starting. So when she joined my class, the first time she walked in, the very first time she walked in, she introduced herself. I knew who she was because my boss had told me that she was joining my class. And my first words out of my mouth to her was, what the hell are you doing here? You don't need to be here. Leave. I know what you want to do, but you're wasting your money. You don't need to be here. You need to go. You got a bachelor's degree. Go to the adult school. Get education there on English. She knew some English, so she was already head start. Right now, she's beautiful English, but she learned it the wrong way. She learned some of it from me, but the point is like I tried to help my students out by letting them know, like, hey, there are these other resources. When I taught for Kaplan, and also when I taught for UEI, I would have times where I do what I could to help my students because I knew that they were being rushed through a program, that they were overpaying for, that was not helping them out, and it was at such a pace that if you didn't understand what was going on, you got left behind. But they wanted the instructor to give the student a good grade because then that kept them in the program and they kept getting their money, right? So what I would do is I would meet my students at like a pizza place, or there was a time when they were meeting me at my apartment. I, not one student, I wasn't taking advantage of students. It was always a group of students. And like, you know, a few of the students I'll probably get on here to do a chat here with me. But my wife being one of them, I might get her on here. She might be a little nervous about it. But you know, my wife and some other students, man, I like when my wife was in my class, she was getting behind because she's trying to learn English, and they were trying to get her to learn. Like accounting and stuff like that, and the terminology she was trying to get used to. So I met her and a few other students at like a pizza place, and we sat there and did a study group, and I helped them out and did what I could to help them. And then you know, we did that a couple times. And then when I was teaching IT, A plus, Net plus, Security plus, all that stuff, you know, there's some students like I spoke with Jonathan, who was on my chat with my last live stream. Jonathan and another student named Cameron. You know, they really wanted to get certified, and they really wanted to learn the information, and they were being, you know, Jonathan was doing a great job, but, you know, it was just a lot of information. And so I would put this thing together where they'd come over to my apartment, hang out with me, and we just do what we could to learn, you know, help them learn the information. So I've always kind of been that way. When I left teaching at the private colleges, I did the same thing. Like, unfortunately, you know, schedules have a hard time of meshing, and people have their lives, but I did what I could to help my students. Matter of fact, this YouTube channel was originally created out of that want and that ask from my previous students. And, you know, with life getting in the way, I kind of let them down. So my goal this time around is to really focus on getting this channel off the ground, really focus on helping people and getting content out. So I have a lot of content together already. I'm planning to release this content again, probably either the last week of this month or the first week of next month. I'm off of work actually during Martin Luther King Day. So I'm planning to just churn out a whole bunch then. And when I'm done with this live stream, I'm actually going to create some videos and just keep going this evening on it. Probably keep the bedhead, I don't know, whatever. It's not a big thing, I don't care much. I have a good excuse for having it, right? But anyway, I see one concurrent viewer, and I'm pretty sure that's probably my wife. So I'm gonna shut down this live stream tonight. But if you see this if you see this video after it's been published, please feel free to ask questions. Put them in the comments. I will answer them. If you're one of my friends that is interested in joining me, if I haven't reached out to you so far and you like to join on this live stream, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, I'm just going to keep doing this. I don't care if by the end of the year I still only have 1 or 2 viewers. I'm just going to keep doing it and kind of keep my promise finally. So anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. If you feel like supporting me, obviously there's no one on this stream, but if you feel like supporting me, if you like what I'm saying, if you like where I'm going with it, if you have questions about anything, don't hesitate to ask. Or if you want to help me keep this going, please check out my Patreon in the description. Or if you want to help me build up the studio and make a little bit more higher quality videos, I also have a Amazon wish list down there, so I don't expect to get anything from that, but if someone did, that would be awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wish you and your family all the best, and you have a good evening. Bye now.